Angel, it's a bishop. Okay, it's a question and answer. Q&A. Okay, let's watch it, okay? Let's watch it.
A thank you from Santiago Fernandez, $100. Thank you, Santiago, for your donation. And if you have a question for His Excellency, please feel free to submit that. One of the people in the comments say, one of the people in the comments said there were lots of funny ones, but the comment was, there are more than 1 billion people who recognize Francis as Pope. Who do you think you are?
Well, 1 billion heretics recognizing Francis as Pope, as we used to say in New York growing up, that in 15 cents will get you on the subway. I mean, the question is, are Catholics recognizing him? And there is a division among those who are refusing Vatican II, or at least in some form or other. Some accept him, some don't. But that's really not material for this reason, because it is not a question of his personal heresy. It is the fact that he is not the Pope and cannot be the Pope is dictated by the Church's doctrine of indefectibility. That Vatican II and the post-Vatican II popes and he have been imposing upon the Church a false religion and false doctrines, imposing, not merely speaking it, but imposing it. And that affects the indefectibility of the Church. That means if that were true, if he's a true Pope, that means the Holy Ghost does not assist the Church. That's a heresy. So in order to avoid that heresy, you must say that he is not the Pope. So it really doesn't matter. I mean, 1 billion people, I don't care if the whole earth said it. Do they have the faith? Do these people have the faith?
Right. You had said in the comments that Vigano's declaration was more important than the 4th of July, Your Excellency.
Oh, much more important.
And why is that?
Well, because the Church is something that lasts until the end of time. Nations do not last until the end of time. They come and they go. And what affects the Church, and this really affects the very life of the Church, is far more important than what affects historical movements of nations, etc. So that's why I said that. But it was the day after the 4th of July, so that was. But no, it's very, very historical with regard to the history of the Church, extremely so.
So the live stream that Father Disposito hosted with you had tens of thousands of views, and you have to imagine those tens of thousands of people are not sedevacantes. They're curious about Archbishop Vigano and they're trying to learn. And so a lot of the comments were driven by some of this Novus Ordo theological thinking. JP2 was seen to be assisting in an exorcism, therefore he is in heaven, that's why you should go to the Novus Ordo. Or JP2 was canonized. Are you saying he is not a saint? Who do we believe? We're just simple laymen. What are we supposed to do? So we're speaking to these people, Your Excellency, who don't normally see you, don't know our position, and they have these sorts of objections. What would you say to them?
Well, it all goes back to what I just said. In other words, the impossibility of these men being popes because of their imposition of heresy upon the Catholic Church. That is the fundamental argument. Everything else is extrinsic to that. Whether they're canonized or anything like it is extrinsic. Canonizations would be nothing from a false pope. That and 15 cents would get you on the subway too. As a matter of fact, I think being canonized by a false pope, as I always say, is like getting a pie in the face. These people were probably holy people. It's just terrible to see them canonized by these creatures. These modernist creatures.
Padre Pio, for example.
Yes, I mean, he was most likely a saint. Various other people that were most likely saints, and then they get the pie in the face, the whole thing boils down to as Father Barnes said, but I think he got it from somebody else, is this Catholicism or not?
Right.
That's the question. And everything else is dancing around that. If you ask any other question, it's always going to come back to that. Is the Novus Ordo, Vatican II, and the post-Vatican II Magisterium, the Novus Ordo liturgy, Novus Ordo disciplines, all that put together, is that Roman Catholicism that has continuity with the past? That is the question you must ask. There's a yes or no answer to it. Everything else flows from that. all of your questions are answered by that.
Some people are asking what's next for Archbishop Vicano, Your Excellency. If assuming he might watch this video, what would be a plan of action? A plan of action. Not does not be the plan of action, but what would be a series of steps that he could take in order to move things forward?
Well, I think the key, is that he could influence bishops or ideally cardinals to come together and say that man is not the Pope and that Vatican II is what you said it is.
So you would say that would be one of his primary duties?
Yes, to influence. We can't have 500 years of traditionalist groups. It's got to be fixed. The authority has to be fixed. That is the main problem in the church. We have enough traditionalist groups. We're doing fine. In other words, we have our own bishops. We don't really need anything from him except that which is capital. And I think he understands that.
He has connections that you don't have. He has relationships that you don't have,
Yes.
and he can try to move that forward.
Yes.
I guess a follow-up Teodoro had, what should we do with modernist sacramentals? I'm thinking of a rosary that has JP2 on one of the parts of it, potentially, something like that.
Well,
It probably hasn't gotten a real blessing.
well, he's a priest. JP2 is validly ordained and validly consecrated.
No, I mean like a rosary that has his image on it. I think that's what he means.
I would discard that, or break it. You could break it up purposely and then throw it out.
Okay.
But I think that would be
the royal treatment you would from Brow, Australian, $5, I think that is.
Mm-hmm.
Is smoking a sin? Did you know any clergy who smoked?
Father Cicada.
One of our favorites.
Yes, he smoked like a chimney when he was young, and I think that gave him his bladder cancer, from which he died prematurely. He was 68, I think, or something like that, and we still need him very badly. I regret every day that I always say he kind of had a nerve dying on us,
The nerve.
Yes, here we need him and he's not around. And I don't see, some people ask me this, but I think that with modern research concerning the effects of smoking on your lungs and your body in general, your heart, everything, bladder, it all collects in your bladder, I don't see how you could justify it morally.
You were talking about like a regular cigarette smoking habit, Your Excellency, not like an occasional pipe or cigar on a first-class feast day or something like that.
No, a habit of it. Something where your body cannot tolerate it.
Needs it.
Yes, or in other words, a buildup of all sorts of things.
I remember Bishop Dolan had told the story that Father Cicada had tried to give up smoking one Lent.
Yes.
And it was, I think, 3 days in, and Bishop Dolan came by and dropped a pack of cigarettes on his desk. He says, it's not supposed to be my penance, it's supposed to be your penance. It's really become a big grouch during those 3 days.
But, I never smoked my whole life, but both of my parents did. My father smoked a great deal. And I always thought, why would you put in your lungs smoke when your lungs are made for air? I thought that as a kid.
Well, you're a singular type of child. I don't think it's fair to compare you to
Why would you fill up your
regular
lungs with
children.
that stuff?
But tobacco can be pleasurable for some people, just like alcohol can be pleasurable, I suppose.
I don't know. I hated it.
Well, watchers and listeners, you now have His Excellency's comment. He says it's not a sin, but
Angel.
He says,
A habit would be a sin, I think.
Angel. Okay. Is your body a temple of God? Angel, you're a bird. Angel, you're a dove. Is your body a temple of God? Okay, let's check, okay? Let's check. I'll examine it. Okay, Angel? Okay. Okay, bye-bye now. Smile, Angel. Smile. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Angel.